Okay, so where are we at? This guy's pretty empty, so we got some time to scoop. Are you laughing, Chubba? Scoop the poop. So once again, I've had a lot of people ask me, like, what is my favorite mod, or what are the best mods to buy? And there's, keep your money for right now, because they've announced the golden expansion, or not the gold expansion, but the expansion pack 2, I think it's called. And it's going to include, from what I understand, all of the DLCs in a single pack. So, and I'm sure it'll be at a discount. I think it's they were talking like $19. So instead of paying $40, it'll be $20. And then if you wait even longer, as we get into the summer and there's a sale, that gold or the expansion pack 2 or whatever they're calling it is going to be even less money, because it'll go on sale for half off or whatever, and you can get it for $9. So. As far as DLCs that have come out, I think probably if you are using the old version of the Farm Simulator and you have not updated to the Gold Edition, I think that the Gold Edition is probably the most comprehensive. It's also the most expensive, but it's really not that expensive for what you get. You get a new map, which is Sosnovka. You also get, 3 new tractors, 2 new harvesters, a new forage harvester, and a ton of small tractor equipment, which really we don't have much of in the game. The little 60, 50, 70, 80 horsepower tractors that are in the game, like the new Holland Power Star, any of those DLC tractors that are from the free Classics DLC, none of those tractors are very practical. The Hurleyman is one that's not. Because that's only 90 horsepower. Anything under 100 hours was pretty much useless in this game until they released the Gold Edition. And with the Gold Edition, we got a whole bunch of Kverneland equipment, and it's very small. So the Kverneland seeders are very lightweight. They can be run by any of the tractors in the game. They gave us a smaller cultivator. They gave us a smaller seeder, a smaller... all the implements are smaller plow, and so it's nice because the Gold Edition gives you the new map. It gives you all of those new pieces of equipment. It gives us a new tipper, and once again, like I said, the forage harvester, the bigger they're all Russian stuff designed to go with Sosnovka, but you can use them anywhere. Now, in real life, you probably would only see them in Polish maps, but there's a lot of Polish maps out there. But I would say, out of all the DLCs, that's probably the most #1 valuable. Coming in right on its heels at number 2, oh man, it's a tough one. I would say personally, I like the JCB because you get, this little guy, which is, once again, it adds something new to the game. So this is a new device. You don't really have any skid steers anywhere else, and this added the skid steer thing into the game, and it's a well-done skid steer. So I think that that's worth it. Plus, you get 2 new really cool tractors, and the fast track tractors are really nice. They're well-done models, and then you also get the excavator and the front end, not excavator, the front end loader, and then also you get that telehandler. So it gives you some new pieces of equipment there too. For $9, you get 5 really nice pieces of equipment plus some attachments. I think that makes that worthwhile. Yes, Evelyn.
Is 1246?
Yes, it's a quarter to 1.
That looks like a weird tractor.
This is called a bobcat or a skid steer. What else do they call them? Robot. Oh, and I never told you guys. I saw a 280 Power Boom ECO. He was plowing snow at one of the developments that I was taking photos at a couple weeks ago, and they had him. They were using him to shovel the cul-de-sacs out, and I thought that was really cool. I was like, and it had the right arm. Like, instead of having 2 arms, it just had the one arm on the right, which is one of the things that makes it unique. So that's pretty cool. So I would say then in 3rd place after that comes the Homer DLC, and that's because it adds the Terra variant, which of course is the Beet Harvester is really cool. But the Terra variant adds a new dimension to the game because is he full? No, he's stuck. Gosh dang it. He can't get around that corner because that tractor's parked 40 feet away. That's aggravating. That's the only other issue I have with Auto Combine is that the guy he can't back up close to somebody. He's got to have like 400 feet of free space to back. See, he's still stuck. It's ridiculous. He only collected like 4% more. Oh well, what are you gonna do? So in third place, right there, we have the Homer DLC. Obviously, this is a really cool unit. This is the star of the show. You can use the 2 different auger wagons, and it's also got the slurry, and it's also got the manure puller. And you can, from what people have told me, is that you can actually, if you use the yellow slurry tank here, and then you buy this yellow slurry tanker, the Zunhammer, with the Zun disc, you can actually use that tank. That let's see, actually it should be in here. You can actually use this tank as an expansion tank for this unit. So you fill this up, and then you run this on the back. You don't have to buy this. You just use this one off the back of this. And you have doubled the amount of slurry you can carry on the back of this tractor. That is really cool. Plus, I like the fact that it adds those quote-unquote auger wagon functions into the game that we did not have, but we only had 1 auger wagon to pick from. Now we have 3. And this also is a 600 horsepower tractor. It's got the power takeoff and everything, so very flexible piece of equipment. That's why that puts that DLC at number 3. And then number 4 would be, of course, well, let's see what's after that. Oh, the IT Runner for sure. The IT Runner is a very flexible piece of equipment. I haven't really used it much on any of my farms, though, because of its price. It's so expensive to get into. But once you get into it, it's nice, and you can do all kinds of different things with it. It's expensive. So that's the only thing that's why it's so low on the list. It's a neat piece of equipment, but it's expensive, and it's not really practical. You're almost better off just with using regular tippers and stuff. But it's a cool piece of equipment, and definitely in real life, it would be an asset to a farm. And plus, you have the mod that goes with it, and I'll show you this in a sec here. I've used it in some of my other videos, but I think that it's a neat... hang on, here we go. This guy right here. They have this truck that if you have the IT Runner, you can buy either of these man trucks. Now, they're very expensive, but they have the IT Runner attachment on them, and so you can just... Instead of buying the IT Runner, you can buy all the attachments and attach that truck to the front. And that makes it really neat, because then it's not like you're trying to find a tractor big enough to pull the IT Runner on. Because the IT Runner, believe it or not, takes a huge tractor. You've got to have at least a 300 horsepower tractor to manage that thing realistically. You could put smaller tractors on the front of it, but it's really hard to control, with those smaller tractors. You really need a big, like a New Holland 6 or 7 series tractor, or maybe an 8, or like the Lamborghini, or maybe the Dutzfar, the big Dutzfar tractor. Like, those are all tractors that can pull the IT Runner. It's a big piece of equipment, but so that man truck gets rid of your having to do that, and you can use that. Plus, it's faster, so it's fast at driving down the road and stuff and delivering things with it. And I don't know. I think it's a better solution, but it's really expensive. So anyway. Yes, Evelyn, you're dying to tell me something. What do you need? No. Yes. So anyway, and then last but not least, poor little lowly at the very bottom, the New Holland Forager. It's what I used on this map. You guys didn't see it because I wasn't recording when I was doing that, but you will. I'll show you it again at some point, because we're going to have to forage again. So, a little screenshot there of the JCB. Actually, we should get a picture of us scooping with it, right? What do you think about that? Does that look cool? Tweet. Anyway, so if I bought them all, and I think if you can get them with this new expansion pack that's coming out, that's probably going to be the best way to do it. You're going to get a much better deal if you buy them all at once. And then you'll get the ones even like the New Holland, the New Holland expansion pack, the one that has the forager in it. I can't see really buying that on its own. I bought it because I wanted it, and I use it. I think it's a cool. It's really the nicest forage harvester so far that I've seen in the game. It's not big and clunky like the Big X. It's got more horsepower than the Roslamash, and not much bigger headers, but bigger headers than the Roslamash. And it's just mean looking. But is it worth $7? I don't know. For me, it was, but like I said, for most people, I think most people are going to look at it and go, "I already have one of those. I don't need another one." So it doesn't really add anything new to the game. I like the DLCs that add something to it, like this skid steer. So anyway, that's my top 10 list on the DLCs. Obviously, the Classics DLC for PC users is free. Now, I guess some people are saying it's not going to... I mistakenly said in my review that it's probably going to come out for the consoles. But apparently, it's definitely not coming out for the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3. Because I guess those consoles, they said they're too old and they can't handle the DLC. So I guess not. It's kind of sad. They will... And I think they said the Homer DLC is not coming out for those consoles either. I think they said the support for the 360 and the PS3 is over. So... they've been grandfathered. Sorry, guys, if you have an older console. I don't know how you guys would manage to still have... I know the PS3 seem to last longer. I'm going to get a lot of angry hate comments for that, but the Xbox 360 is a turd. Sorry, guys. I love it. Between the two, I would not even bother buying the PlayStation. But I've just personally known so many people that have had problems, like physical hard drive issues, problems with overheating, and just all kinds of issues with their Xbox 360s, including my own children. They had the red ring of death that they had to deal with. Ryan was able to fix it. But the whole thing had to come apart. CD-ROM drive going bad, hard drive going bad. I mean, they weren't well made. They had a lot of problems with them, and the PS3s, on the other hand, seem to have just operated flawlessly, and that's the difference between Sony and Microsoft. And I'm not a fanboy of either. Whenever I've bought the systems, and I don't buy consoles anymore. I know people have been asking me, like, "Oh, are you going to get this for the console? You're going to play Farm Sim on the console?" Because they want me to play with them on their servers. And I'm like, well, it's not worth me spending $400 on a console that I will only play for one game. I'm just not going to do it. And everybody wants me to buy the console that they have. So Xbox or 360, 360 or PlayStation. Well, whichever one you have is the one that you want me to buy. I'm not going to buy either of them. And honestly, I don't play console games. I love the computer. I'm a computer gamer. I've been a computer gamer since the 80s. Like I said, I own the Nintendo Entertainment System. I owned the Super Nintendo. I've owned, I had the original PlayStation. I had the N64 when it came out. I had a Dreamcast. I've had, the GameCube. I've owned the PS1, the PS2, the Xbox, the original Xbox, and then I also had the Xbox. The kids had the 360. So, I mean, I've owned pretty much every major console that's been out except for the Sega Saturn and the Sega Genesis. I never owned those. But I played them a lot. My friends had them, and I played them. So, I get it. I understand the whole console thing. I'm not into it. I'm a PC gamer, and I would rather lounge on the couch and play a monitor right in front of my face than have to sit back and do that on the television. And I love classic games, but I really I like the simulator games, and you just don't find those very often on the consoles. The consoles are more designed for like shooters and stuff like that. Evelyn, what do you need? What? So when you press the red ring of death is what Evelyn's asking about. What that is when you press the power button on the front of the Xbox, it turns green to let you know that the power's on. If it had a failure where it can't load the system, it turns red. And usually it means the system is broken. They call that the red ring of death. When Ryan did it, when he fixed it, what it turned out to be was that it was overheating So he took it apart, cleaned the heat sink out. I think he even might have put a new fan on there, and just got it working better. And after he did that, it worked fine. So, but the people do get the red ring of death, and
When you tried to open it, it wouldn't open. So you have to have Rad come down.
yeah, the CD-ROM drive, you'd have to pry it open, right? And it was broken. That kind of hampers the use of a console when you can't get a disc in it.
Sometimes the disc will get stuck in it too. And you have to take it apart and take the disc out.
Right. So, which platform is superior? Well, that's debatable, and I think for everybody it's different. I don't think you can say that the PC is better than the Xbox or is better than the PlayStation. They're all good, and they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses. Consoles, you don't have to mess around with drivers. You don't have to mess around with upgrades. You don't have to mess around with trying to get programs to work with operating systems. There's no hocus pocus. You just plug it in and play it. And so there's a great appeal for consoles, and I totally understand it. I understand why people like consoles, and I get it. But I like the fact that I can tinker with it. I like the fact that I can adjust it and arrange it the way that I want. I feel, for myself personally, that in general the PC gives superior graphics. That's not always true. But in general, also, the PC gets a lot more games than the consoles get. So the consoles get their licensed titles, and the computer gets all. And once in a while, you run into a case like Grand Theft Auto, where the PC has to wait for 6 months or a year before it gets the game because of some kind of licensing issue with, Sony has a deal with, Rockstar that they get it first, and they get it for 6 months exclusivity or whatever. But in general, it seems like the games come first to the PC, or they just run better on the PC, or they have a lot like new features enabled. They have a lot more mods. There's a huge mod community for almost all of the simulator games. I just feel like it's a better platform for the type of games that I play. Does it mean it's better? No. Just for me, for the types of games that I like to play, me personally, I like the computer better. Always have, and like I said, I've had all those consoles that I named earlier. I will always like the PC better. At the same time I had those consoles, I also had PCs. I've been just like a lot of you guys out there. Here you go, Cha, 1 o'clock. Like a lot of you fellows out there, man, I've been playing video games like literally since Pong. My uncle had Pong, black and white television. We used to play Pong at his house. My cousin, I had it. We had ColecoVision. He lived with us when I was a kid, and we shared systems, and we had an Atari 2600. We had ColecoVision. He had a really rare system. You can look it up. It was called the Bally Midway Arcade. It's a very, very rare system. It was only produced, I think they only made like 20 or 25 games for it. Like it didn't take off. It was a competitor to the ColecoVision and the Atari, and it bombed. But it had some really great games. He had the Midway Arcade, and we played Wizards of War, maybe Wizards and Warriors. I can't remember the name of the title, but I think it was called Wizards and Warriors. It didn't do well, is what that means. It had obviously all the Midway games, and all the Bally games, so like Pac-Man and they looked great. They looked just like they did in the arcade. So it was a very unique system that not very many people ever heard of and not many people ever had, but he had one. My neighbor had a Tandy that we played all the time. At school we had the Apple II, the Apple IIG, the Apple II GS. I don't think I ever used a regular Apple, but the first PC I ever used was an XT. Somebody had an IBM XT. We had them in our typing classes, and we used to play. There was a game on there called Gorilla, and it was basically a 2D game. And there were these it was like a city skyline. And there were two gorillas. One would stand on one building and one would stand on the other building. You could either have two-player, or you could have the computer run one gorilla, and then you could run the other gorilla. And, whoops. Wrong tractor. And you'd throw bananas in an arc. You'd have to calculate the speed and velocity to hit the other gorilla. And your goal was to kill the other gorilla. So you'd throw these nuclear bananas. They go up in the air and explode. And you'd arc them up and over and try to hit your opponent. And if you could hit him, you know, you could take him out. But if he hit you first, you know, he would win. It usually took the computer player like 4 or 5 turns to get a hit on you. So you'd have, you know, 4 or 5 turns to figure out what trajectory. It's kind of late at night for me to say that word. What trajectory? I can't say it. It's funny how sometimes there's words that you just they just hit you the wrong way. Trajectory and what velocity you need to shoot your banana at. So you'd have to arc your banana at a certain trajectory and a certain velocity, and it would arc up over out of the screen and come back down and hopefully nuke the crap out of your enemy gorilla. And imagine Space Invaders graphics, I guess, would help kind of paint the picture. They were pretty decent graphics for the time. That was the first PC game that I ever played. And then shortly after that, my mom's boyfriend bought a 286, and I played right there, Scott. I played Commander Keen. What's the matter, Cha? What? BED. Are you ready for bed? We're gonna have to call it quits in a couple minutes here, folks. Evelyn's getting tired. I'm gonna finish a couple stories though. What was I talking about, Cha? Oh, so my mom's boyfriend had Commander Keen. What was the name of that game? I think it was just called Commander Keen is the name of the game. But I mean, we're gonna have to back in here. No, she wasn't married. She was divorced at that point. They're still friends. They're not boyfriend and girlfriend anymore. His name's Tom. He was a real nice guy. But anyway, he had this game called Commander Keen. And if I remember right, I think it was the first game that was ever made by ID Games, which is the company that made Doom and Quake and all these other, you know, huge Mega Buster hits. Rise of the Triad. For those of you that like obscure shooter games, that game did not do well at all. It was like a kind of like a Doom-esque type game, but with Nazis, and it introduced the term, I believe it introduced the term ludicrous jibs. Like you've heard that before, like when you know Unreal Tournament had it, like when guys would explode, they'd be like ludicrous jibs. Well, you'd like shoot a Nazi and he'd explode into pieces, and like eyeballs would fly all over the screen. It was really violent, and they'd say ludicrous jibs. But anyway, that was Rise of the Triad. But yeah, I grew up with, I mean, gosh darn it, Wing Commander, one of the best games ever put out there for space games, and that's, you know, obviously we have Chris Roberts' latest, you know, hopefully Triumph. We'll have to see. You know, I bought it. I haven't done anything with it, but what, Evelyn? Oh, the rental of the Terra variant. My rental for all this equipment ends in an hour. What was I talking about? Uh-oh. We forgot. I forgot what I was talking about. Can't interrupt me, Chubba, because I'm too stupid to remember. I'm tired and I'm old. My brain doesn't work like it used to. We were talking about ludicrous jibs. We were talking about Rise of the Triad. Wing Commander. So, what is it called? What's the name of that game? See, here's the problem. I'm getting old. I can't remember anything. What was the? I can't remember. The name of the game is Space Engineers. No, that's not it. Star Friends. Yeah, I got it. Star Citizen. And we'll see how that turns out. If it's, you know, one of my favorite games of all time was Freelancer. Well, Freelancer was such a great game. And I don't know if you guys remember, but before Freelancer, part of the Wing Commander series, we had a great game called The Privateer and The Privateer 2. And those were kind of like a side quest, but actually they ended up being a better game than the original Wing Commander. Wing Commander had like 5 different variations, and honestly, Squadron 42 is the squadron that was in Wing Commander. So Star Citizen, to start out every player, or most every player, including myself because I bought into it, get a free copy of Squadron 42 when it comes out. And that's going to be basically a recreation, a modern recreation of the original Wing Commander game, with new plot twists and stuff. But one of the fighters, and I think it's the Hornet, the military variant of the Hornet in Star Citizen is actually the fighter that you flew in the original Wing Commander. There was a Hornet. And you can upgrade eventually, but the Hornet was the standard military ship, and it still is in this game. So I think it's kind of cool how, I played that game. 20 years. I was 18 years old when that came out. Another great game from Chris Roberts was Strike Commander, and it was basically Wing Commander, but with an F-16. You were a mercenary that owned a company that would hire out your F-16s, and you flew to different countries. And I remember one of the best missions. You had to fight like all these fighter planes. You were always fighting MiGs and stuff because that was back during the Cold War, and the guys, like the last mission, you had to like the Cuban ambassador that had been like selling nuclear bombs to like all your enemies, was like escaping with his cabinet on this private jet, and of course they were protected by you'd have to take down all the guards, but you'd hear the radio communication. Like on the last mission, I took them down. You hear the radio communication come across the comm channel, and they're like, hey, we're unarmed. Like that was like one of the first games that had like live communication while you were shooting things down. You hear the other pilots be like, you got me. Like an Arabic pilot flying a Russian MiG would be speaking in English, but that's how they did it. What, honey? Color what? What are you talking about? What about them? What pictures? When I was a kid? No, they were color. I'm not that old. My grandpa and grandma, when they were younger, like their wedding pictures were in black and white. They didn't have color film. Color film was around early. Like color film has been out, I think, since like the late 1800s, but it was really expensive, so people didn't use it. They used black and white because it was cheaper and easier to develop. Those were the good old days. So Strike Commander was awesome. Wing Commander was great. Freelancer was awesome. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where Star Citizen goes. We're definitely going to put it on the channel once it... I might even start doing it sooner than later. I'm definitely going to dump spin tires, like I said earlier. I might do a couple more episodes, but like I said, there's really not going to be any new content for that, so there's no point in continuing. And at some point, American Truck Simulator will die. I love it, but I can't see the series going on for like 2 years worth of episodes. You get a truck, you drive, you drop the load off. I mean, essentially that's all of these games are, but I don't know. I don't know if I can keep it fresh for 2 years. We'll have to see. It definitely will calm down for a little bit, and then once the Arizona DLC comes out, we'll hit it again pretty hard, but I'm not quitting American Truck Simulator by any means. Don't get the idea that by me saying that. But I am going to try to put some time into some other games. Like I said, I've gotten, we talked about this the last episode. I've got people asking reviews for Farming Expert, which my honest, quick review is don't bother. It's got great ideas, but the game is really bad. Another game that probably could stand having at least 1 or 2 episodes would be the Bus Simulator. That's a fun game I bought a couple weeks ago. A little expensive, but... Huh? Yeah, like a month ago. I only played it for a couple days. It kind of got boring pretty quick, but... it's a simulator. When I was younger, I used to play Midtown Madness by Microsoft. It was like a racing game. And they had buses in it. And I'd just drive around town and pretend like I was a bus driver. So the Bus Simulator is nice because it takes that and uses about the same graphics level as Midtown Madness. It didn't really improve on that too much, unfortunately. The graphics are pretty bad. They're better. I mean, they're better than Midtown Madness, but a somewhat buggy game with really crappy frame rates that people are really hating right now. And I like the game, though. I actually played it quite a bit and had fun playing it. And, you know, tongue-in-cheek, it's a fun game. And it has goals, so you really work on building a company and trying to get more buses and establishing more routes and making money. So it's fun. It is a good game. I need to do a review of that. Naval Action I'm playing right now. What a great game. I think if Mark ends up sticking around, if he doesn't move out right away, we're going to try to do a series. We're going to play through Call of Duty World at War. It won't be a real long series because I think it's only, you know, maybe 20 levels, so make 20 episodes. But we'll have that series coming out, you know, in the next couple months. We may also do Sir, You're Being Hunted. It's a game that's kind of interesting. They keep developing it. It's one of those big, forever in beta games. Space Engineers. I'd like to do a short series on that one, maybe a long series. So there's all kinds of stuff out there that is, you know, that's been out for a while, but I'm trying to, you know, American Truck Simulator was I got to tell you guys, it's been a really big help to my channel. I hit it right when it came out, and I think the same thing's going to happen with Farm Sim 2017. When I got this game and started making videos, it had already been out for 3 or 4 months before I was daring enough to make a video of the Farm Sim. I didn't think it would do well. I thought right away, you know, no one's going to watch this, and my goodness, it took off. It became my most popular series pretty quickly. But you know, I was behind the curve on that game. I think with American Truck Simulator, because I got in on it right when it came out, it's doing really well. Like, it's actually doing better than any of my other channels. Though now we're getting up into the 20s of episodes, it's starting to die off a little bit. But that's to be expected. But I'm just shocked at how well it did, and I think that when we hit, you know, the next iteration of Farm Sim, the same thing's going to happen. It'll give me a nice boost in my channel. Evelyn, please stop. If you're tired, just go up and you can lay down in Ryan's bed. I'll come up and get you when I come up. So silly. She just keeps like pointing to the television, like every time a minute goes by, she's like, Dad, another minute went by, like I'm ready for bed. I know, honey, but I haven't recorded, and I'm so busy, and I don't know when the next be able to record is. I'm trying to get as much done as possible. I know you're tired. You could just go up to bed. I cannot believe how big she's getting. Oh my gosh, she's like almost 4 feet tall now. Evelyn, P. All right, P. All right, guys. I guess we're gonna load the harvester one more time, and we'll pick up again right here where we're leaving. I'm not gonna do any more until I pick you guys up, because it's kind of fun riding the Homer DLC and seeing what's going on. But we're making money, so we've made almost $120,000 since the start of this series of episodes, and I plan to, like I said, I think when we're done with that silage, we're going to be well over $1 million. It might take a couple days to scoop it all, because with that little one of the things that I've done to kind of prevent myself from making way too much money is to limit the size of. Hang on, we're gonna get a screenshot here. Oops, wrong button. I want to get a different angle here. That's not at all what I want to do. Come on. Oh, Arthur. Can you turn the TV off, P? Get in there. Come on, boy. Get it in there. Good. There you go. All right. All right. So let's get a different angle here on this screenshot. I want to get a little closer because that was the idea, but I was kind of far away. Ugh, it's not going to do it what I want. So let's see. Get it quick before I crash. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so we'll continue using the Homer. The Homer Simpson.
Well, I still think he looks like Droopy Dog. Come on, fellas.
I can't. I'm so bad. I can't do Droopy Dog. I've tried many times. It's failed every time. But he does look like Droopy Dog, doesn't he?
Oh. Something's wrong. I'm all sideways.
It's so cool, though, the crab legger.
Crab legger. It's a crab-legging tractor. Apparently the JCB tractor is also crab steer in real life. For some reason they don't model it in the game. They call me Mr. Crab's Leg.
That's bad, sorry. Didn't sound like anything funny. It wasn't funny at all. It's a sign that it's time to quit and go to bed. You have to see Evelyn's face. She is standing in here with her little puppy dog eyes, like looking all sad, like, Dad, I'm ready for bed. I want you to come upstairs. My wife is gone for the weekend. Typical. And so I told Evelyn she could sleep in my bed. And she's like waiting and waiting. She doesn't want to go by herself because she's scared. What are you scared of, P? There's nothing to be scared of. All right. So, folks, thank you again for being part of my channel. I hope that the new microphone isn't going to drive people nuts and drive them away from the channel. I know it's not, like I said, as high quality as the old one, but what are you going to do? I have had a much better playing experience tonight than I normally do, and I'm very glad and comfortable. Have a great night, guys. Be sure to subscribe. Once again, thumbs up always help. And thank you for being part of my channel. I really enjoy doing this series, and I'm having fun. Oh, and I should probably tell you before I go, I know everybody's always asking about the server. I'm actually putting together the server over the last weekend. I spent some time. I got the computer back up and running, so it's working now. I installed Belgique Profound, set a little farm up with some old tractors. We're going to start off in the older era with the older era tractors, and then work to build up money. And it's only going to be. Can you close that bag, Chuck? It's only going to be live when I'm playing it. So if some of you are going to get frustrated because you're going to get on there and be like, well, I can't get on the server. But my point in doing that is so that it doesn't grow too fast. The issue that I had with the 1-year challenge farm is that because people were allowed to play on there whenever they want, two things happened. One, some people would go on there. Most people didn't. But I had a couple people go on there and just kind of screw things up. They would move tractors all over the place and just kind of goof around and make a big mess. I want to prevent that from happening. And secondly, but more importantly, we just earned so much money so quickly that it just wasn't fun. We got like millions of dollars of equipment in like the first week, and then people just got bored and left. So I'd like to be making it so that it's a continuing series. If you want to join, you can. It will be. I don't know if I'm going to broadcast live. Right now, I actually have the ability to broadcast live from YouTube. So I don't think I'm going to do Twitch. I'm already tied in with YouTube. And I think that we're just going to broadcast our stream through the YouTube channel and not have to worry about setting Twitch up. So I know some of you guys like Twitch TV, but you won't have to go anywhere. You just have to come to my YouTube channel. Easy as pie. So it will be easier for you guys. You don't have to try to find another address. It's going to all be integrated into my channel, and you can just come and be part of the stream and leave comments as we're going, and I'll try to respond to them. And honestly, I can see during that time not having, I'm going to be an administrator probably more than necessarily running equipment. I might have a pickup truck that I run around and make sure everybody's getting their jobs done, but I have a feeling that if we're doing a live stream, a lot of people are going to want to be on, and because of that, we're going to have enough people, enough workers, that I'm really probably going to be more just managing the farm, keeping the equipment clean, keeping it organized, and kind of just overseeing the farm while you guys come on and play, and I'll be there to help you, and we can all talk. And the other thing that I'm still trying to figure out is how to set up TeamSpeak. I do have the software to set up the server. I'm just trying to figure out how to get that working. So give me a little while longer on that. Don't look for it yet, but I'm going to try to say by the end of spring, I should have everything in place, and then we'll play the heck out of it until we hit 2017. So anyway, I thought that's good news, and I am going forward with it, like I said, and I'm sorry it took so long, but I've been swamped with work, and that's a good thing. So anyway, have a great night, guys. Once again, be sure to subscribe. I will see you on the fields and on the streets and on the battlefields and all over the freaking place. Have a great night. Thanks for being part of my channel. Bye.